Can you just provide a little bit of background on how real estate firms traditionally would provide value to a client, and how maybe AI is moving into this great equalizer, maybe on just a background perspective before we dive in a little bit more detail?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I think it's important, for a minute to just clarify a little bit more about what it is that I do. Some people will hear, corporate strategy and they don't necessarily understand what that means. And I think it can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. But one of the interesting things, within being in real estate, specifically my job is to help drive and steer some of the strategy of our company. So whether that's implementing new technologies, allocation of resources, and just identifying different patterns, data analysis, things like along those lines. The interesting part is, as a commercial real estate company, we have our clients that are a lot of large clients all over the board, and they are they range from manufacturing to law firms. And so we actually use some of that information to drive our decision making, just because we see what other people are doing in the market, which is one of the very interesting pieces of real estate, is that we get to see in real time the decision that people are making as it relates to their workplace. But to that point, I think commercial real estate specifically is a industry that is like many others. It has a very old way of thinking, not very entrepreneurial, as I just mentioned. And they are, the value proposition for commercial real estate brokers or lawyers or anyone within finance is a pairing of data and high-level barriers to entry. And the high-level barriers to entry are generally like a specific knowledge, you're going to school for, things like that. So, you have other industries, that don't necessarily have one of the two. Commercial real estate, much like banking, much like law, is very siloed in the sense that we have had the professionalism. We've gotten past the high barrier to entry to become professionals, and we've had the data to back that up. And I think that, it's now, the problem is that now the data has never been more easily accessible to the consumer, to the end user. And with these new AI tools, the knowledge barrier, that high barrier to entry, is easy as it's ever been to break down. And so when you start seeing the dissolution of the two of those, it really, it reflects that, okay, well, this industry is going to have to change, much like a lot of industries. And just one more example, it's like, we see lawyers, there's a lot of lawyers that are, they have a law degree, which legally allows them to operate as a lawyer, but then they have this, legal expertise and a bunch of data and, well-informed decisions in the past that help drive their decisions as lawyers. And, I don't know what the specific stat is, but it is an insane amount of legal documents are being read now, by ChatGPT, these LLMs. And it's interesting because, it's going to just completely shift the dynamics of the hiring market. So I think industries like these are going to have to go through incredible transformation. They've been very old fashioned. They've made a lot of money. But I think we're approaching an era in which that's going to have to change.